but no one likes it.
Oh, welcome in. Look at that eyeball. If you can see it on the live stream, that is the eyeball of Eric Branstrom. He's trying to reenact a scene from the movie we're going to talk about today, Fire in the Sky, 1993 film starring D.B. Sweeney. Is it really starring D.B. Sweeney? I don't know. We can talk about that later. Seems like Robert Patrick's movie.
Yeah.
At any rate, we'll cover that. Does it hold up? That's our signature segment. We'll be doing that in a little bit, as we always do. Travis Roy, Eric Branstrom in his house. We weren't off. We just did the last show really early, and we want to apologize that we were not able to get out an audio version of our wonderful show that we did with the man himself, Daryl Edge, who came on to do the Weatherman. He does his own Nick Cage podcast. We pushed it really hard, and what I will tell you is the YouTube absolutely exists of that show. The video of it is up there in our YouTube channel, Cinema 9 Pod. Please go check it out. And we feel terrible about it. I tried everything. I just was not able to get the audio file to work.
Yeah, if anybody has any recommendations on how we could get the audio from YouTube, captured so we can get that up in all of its regular places. It was a real shame to have Daryl from the Cage Rage podcast on and have him do such an awesome job and have a great show with him. And then I guess it's kind of like an Easter egg. It's only on our YouTube, so go to our YouTube, check that out. It is solid stuff. But yeah, it is good to be back after our Thanksgiving break. It's good to see my co-hosts grinning, smiling, just so happy faces.
Yeah, jet skis.
Yeah.
Eric Branstrom, how you doing, buddy?
Happy Thanksgiving and happy holiday season to you, gentlemen.
Yeah, happy holidays. You've been doing some decorating for Valentine's Day. What's going on back there?
Valentine's Day? No, they're hearts, but I'm doing
there we go.
We got this, we got that.
Right. Yeah,
save up in this bitch.
I'm gonna start decorating this weekend. Good.
Yeah, we put our tree up on Sunday. It's not finished, but the tree is up, and it's in the bedroom, which is a questionable choice. But there was just such a perfect spot. I
don't know about this.
There's a lot of clutter here in the living room, and just not a spot for
You couldn't break down the drums for a season, or for a month. Could you play them?
Yeah,
you play them that often?
I do try.
That's good. That's good.
You know how drummers hate to break their shit down. Yeah. That's why being a drummer sucks in the band. You gotta break it all down and carry it all there.
You couldn't move that gentleman wrapped in latex behind you. And,
yeah, he's got some. There he is. DB screaming.
DB screaming.
Yep.
If you're watching the YouTube thing, he's got the clip of him behind. He doesn't actually have a shrunk wrapped body in his living room. At least if you can see, maybe off camera.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty isolated out here. I could probably pull that off. Either way, yes, it is the holiday season. The next pick is Eric's. So at the end of the show, Eric will reveal his choice. And I got a feeling it could be holiday related. I do have a feeling. You got to take advantage of it while you can, too, so I respect that. Either way, cinema9pod at protonmail.com. Please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. That is the way that you can help the show be exposed to a greater audience, and then we can engage even more meaningfully and deeper about movies. Sounds cool, doesn't it?
Sounds nice.
It does sound nice, yes. Very classy. All right, so having said that, why don't we begin? It's been a minute. It's going to be a long segment. Quarantine viewing picks. What are the recommendations? What have you been watching, Travis Roy?
It's been a minute, but it's also been like a holiday minute. I was visiting family and that kind of stuff, so I didn't watch a ton of movies. And a lot of the stuff that I watched with them. So I watched with them, for instance, with my mom and my sister and some other family. Home for the Holidays from 1995, which we had an infamous episode on last year, but it was really nice to watch that with my family because it's like a family classic for us. So it was nice to watch that with my family on Thanksgiving, and we the day before we watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So it was the classic, kind of in our opinion, top Thanksgiving movies of that limited genre. So that was fun, and also checked out my first Christmas movie of the season with my mom. We watched The Man Who Invented Christmas with Dan Stevens. You guys familiar with this movie? This is a kind of a biopic of Charles Dickens. while he's writing A Christmas Carol, and Dan Stevens plays him. And it's like, if you've watched like every version of A Christmas Carol as I have, and kind of would like a refreshing new take on it, I definitely recommend this, because it's like you're seeing him get inspired, you're seeing like what he's drawing it from. Like it's a pretty dang good Christmas movie, and I liked it despite its awful title. The Man Who Invented Christmas is a terrible title for a movie, utterly forgettable, and not entirely accurate anyways. But yeah, that was good. I think I finally watched a Nick Cage movie that I hated, that even despite him being in it, I was finally like, what the fuck is this? And that was Prisoners of the Ghostland. This year is just so contrived and like trying to be a cult movie. That's really like every scene, it just feels like, yep, like there's a reason why they hired Nick Cage for this, because they're really just like intentionally being like, let's just go over the top as much as we can. And it was boring. Like, it was dull. I was bored by it, which is, I don't know, man. You got like Ghosts in the Apocalypse and like with Nick Cage, you make a boring movie. Shame on you. Shame on you.
How dare you?
How dare you,
George?
Sir?
Do us, George C. Scott. How dare you? Good day, sir.
I'm gonna be good day, sir. I also since I'm gonna be on speaking of the Cage Rage podcast, I'll be on there talking about Arsenal soon, the Nick Cage film, which I didn't realize was actually kind of a loose sequel to 1993's Deadfall, which I'd never seen before. Watched it, also not a Nick Cage movie I could recommend. Even like in 93, it's definitely him starting to play with it and have fun and like not really try and make a good movie, more just kind of enjoy himself. And so it's worth it for that, to watch that evolution in him. But it was not a good movie, and officially bumps Dances with Wolves for worst narration. Michael Bihn's narration. He's a terrible fucking narrator. Man. In fact, he's terrible in the movie. Like, he's just really, like he's the lead, and like
it ain't so
just bad. Oscar bait, King Richard. Oscar bait alert.
Will Smith.
Yeah,
but it was good. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed it. You know. Fucking great performance from Will Smith. Don't be surprised if he wins the Oscar for this one. I think that. I thought he did really good in it.
Oscar winner Will Smith.
He's gonna get nominated for it. I almost guarantee it, and I wouldn't be surprised if he wins.
I got to see this. Okay, tennis. Phineas Williams.
I dug the film.
You dug it. You dug it as well.
I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. It was very like sappy and like Oscar campaign central, but it was just a good, sweet, earnest film. I mean,
yeah. And
John Bernthal was fucking hilarious in it.
John Bernthal was some of the best work he's done. I think it's hard to believe this is like The Punisher. You know, like, this is like not a fucking. He plays a lot of tough guys. He's not a tough guy in this. He's got like a Midwestern accent. And he's like in the fucking short shorts the whole time. It's so funny. Yeah, I enjoyed it, man. I'm glad you liked it too. I think it was definitely worth catching. King Richard. I watched They Shall Not Grow Old. The Peter Jackson documentary from World War One. I mean, if you want to know what it was like to be in World War One, this is a rough watch in a lot of ways. I mean, there's some kind of brutal stuff in here, but it's a fucking documentary about war. I don't know what I expected, but it was good. It was good. Lastly, the last thing I watched, which is going to be my main recommendation. As I watched this movie, I said to myself at one point, "This is incredible." And directed by, I want to say, what the fuck is his name? I forgot his name, but the same guy that directed and Cool Hand Luke. I'm talking about Brubaker from 1980 with Robert Redford. This movie, you're muted, buddy. You're muted.
Oh boy.
What are you trying to say to us?
I can't believe you're saying I watched it too. Did you take Chris Deary's recommendation like I did?
No.
That's so weird.
It's one that's
directed by Stuart Rosenberg, by the way.
Thank you. I knew it was Stuart something. I wanted to say Anderson. That was way off.
Jesus.
But yeah, that's so funny, dude, because like this is a movie that I'd never heard of, and then recently it's kind of like been bubbling up where I hear people talk about it a little bit with respect. And I'm like, this should be on par as a classic. I mean, I thought this cast was out of control. I thought it was really powerful. What did you think? Dude,
Morgan Freeman was fucking fantastic, dude.
Yes.
And very young. I think this is 1980.
That's right.
Yeah, dude. Some really interesting things to say about prison reform. a little dry for me. Like, some of those old movies, they just go on and on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I fucking loved it. Bob Redford was off the charts in it.
Yaphet Kotto's in this as well.
Yeah,
Yaphet Kotto's fantastic.
He's killing it. Everett McGill, I want to say his name is.
Yeah, the dude from Silver Bullet.
Silver Bullet, yeah, doing some really good stuff here.
Yeah. Oh, the guy who plays the priest?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
There's a bunch of there's like the fucking I can't think, one of the orderlies from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest shows up in here. One of the dudes from Network, and which I kind of thought of Network a few times watching this movie. Not that it's not Lumet, but like it's still like, I don't know, there's something about like trying to like this one man trying to like turn the tide of like a corrupt system kind of thing happening here. I don't know. I really, really liked Brubaker quite a bit. And that would be
Emmett Walsh is in this. Oh boy.
I mean, fucking Wilford Brimley's in this shit. Like, it's just a nonstop barrage.
35-year-old Wilford Brimley.
So weird.
Yeah. He's like younger than me in it, and he looks like my grandpa.
Out of all the movies.
Yeah, it's a fuck. Yeah, of all the movies, we just happened to both watch that movie.
That is weird. Funny. I heard something the other day real quick about Wilford Brimley. Paul Rudd was recently named people's sexiest man. Yeah. He's 50 at least. And he's the same age as Wilford Brimley was when he did Cocoon.
That's true.
Which he was, for the record, Brimdogger was kind of done up for Cocoon. Like he gained some weight for the role. True. They dyed his chest hair, even in like his facial hair. Like they did some stuff to make him look older. Because remember, like they all get like, it's like the Fountain of Youth type thing. So they all kind of like get younger in the film. So like it kind of makes sense for him to play that role. Just for the record, just to come to the man's defense.
Yeah, nobody ever comes to Wilford Brimley's defense. Glad you did that. Eric Branch, what have you been watching, buddy?
Aside from Brubaker from 1980.
I got to watch this. I got to get on it. It was on my list of Redford movies, including the one where he's out in the wilderness. I got to watch that one, too. So.
Oh, don't watch Jeremiah Johnson. It's so fucking boring.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
It's so boring.
But it's the ultimate GIF. It's the defining GIF on the internet. I gotta watch it.
No, read Liver Eating Johnson, which is the actual autobiography of Jeremiah Johnson's fucking awesome. Read? No, all right. Man, shit, I watched a lot. Aside from Brubaker, I checked back in with Best in Show 2000. Still absolutely holds up. I had to go to IMDb. Christ, Christopher Guest. Where is he? He hasn't directed since For Your Consideration 2007. What's going on here?
He was just in something, though. I swear I just watched something he was in. Yeah, I'll double check that.
Huh. Perplexing, man. So talented. I mean, hilarious. King Richard. Okay. I had never heard of this movie. I vaguely remember hearing about this musical, but I didn't know they turned it into a movie. And Lord knows, anytime there's a movie about like a dance competition and they're like is auditions and stuff, I'm there. I love every single dance competition movie. I can't help it. Save the Last Dance, Flashdance, all of them. A Chorus Line, a Richard Attenborough film from 1984 starring Michael Douglas. I had no clue this existed, so I hit play on Amazon Prime. I dug it. The music was truly bad. But like I liked the way Attenborough directed it. It had a ton of energy. I mean, all that jazz is still by far the best movie about like a dance troupe in New York, especially. It's unbelievable. But Michael Douglas really good in it. Incredible acting by mostly just stage performers and dancers. I liked the film. What can I say? The Big Town. Okay, I'd never heard of this, from 1987. Matt Dillon, Diane Lane, Tom Skerritt, Bruce Dern, Tommy Lee Jones. Are you hearing this cast? It's solid. It takes place in 1957. It's about Matt Dillon plays like a craps player who like he's a young guy. It's kind of, I think it's actually written by the guy who wrote The Hustler. So he's like this craps player who goes to Chicago to try to like, make the big score, and he runs into all these ruffians and this truly distinct guy by Tommy Lee
Ruffians.
Jones. Yeah, sure. Check it out. Check it out, because I dug it, and it really flew under the radar in 87. But I really like the film. Bruce Dern is fucking awesome in it if you're a fan of the legend. But yeah, solid film.
Awesome.
Up. Checked in with Up. I sat there and I'm like, all right, I'm not going to cry. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to keep it together. I'm not going to. Literally, as soon as it started, they didn't even show that. All I saw was the Disney logo.
Never saw it. I never saw it, by the way. So
it's, I mean, one of the all-time beginnings of any film, animated or otherwise. It's actually got a problem in it, in that it's like it never, like it's the opening's so good that like it's like Saving Private Ryan. Yep. The opening's so good that like it never recovers.
That's funny. I was actually thinking best openings ever. I watched. This is a side note. Monty Python: The Holy Grail is one of my favorite openings ever. So.
That movie carries on and stays good.
That's true.
That's a great topic. Best openings ever. This is one of them, man. And you're right. I mean, it's so powerful. Okay. I sat there for the full 6.5 hours and watched Peter Jackson's Get Back Beatles documentary on Disney Plus.
How was it? That's on my list.
I fucking loved it so much. I would pause it often just to see how much more there was left because I didn't want it to end. It's one of those.
Wow.
It is. I know what you're thinking. He's going to say it's the best music documentary he's ever seen. It truly is. I've never seen such an immersive documentary that truly takes you right there into the entire process of making an album, which is
in your defense. People are saying that there's a lot of write-ups already that this is the best doc music-wise ever. I mean,
Jackson seemed like after watching They Will Not Grow, They Shall Not, whatever the fuck, Grow Old. I mean, that seems to be his thing. Like, I mean, my fat ass has never been to war, but I mean,
you're not a man, by the way.
I'm not a man, so I picked up a gun. But you know, I felt like Jesus fucking, of all the things I've seen on this, like I felt like I was in it, like, you know, like you really feel immersed, and that was what he was going for. And I like the idea of a studio better.
Oh my God, dude. I felt like I was sitting right beside him in the studio, like and to be able to strip away like the gravitas of these undeniable legends and just make them seem like regular people without any fanciful showmanship, it was truly remarkable. That's all I can say. A 10 out of 10, A+. It's fucking unbelievable.
Also, I heard that the restoration of it looks so good too, is what I've been told. Like how the people are wondering how he pulled it off, because this is so old.
It's 53 years ago, and that's one of the first things I turned to Ange and said, it looks like it was made yesterday. It's crystal clear and completely relevant. I mean, you talk about just the process of these artists trying to make, you think of some of these songs is just like that they've been written since time began, but you sit there and listen to them literally work out the lyrics in the studio, work out the notes, and you can see the other band members' faces when they realize, oh shit, that sounded really good. Play that again. What was that? And like one of them's like, I don't know, I just made it up. It's like on this. It's like magic. I had goosebumps for 6 straight hours.
I'm doing it this weekend.
Then I went into the Seinfeld vortex and I can't climb out.
Oh boy, you poor bastard. We've all been there. It's okay.
But to my credit, like I've always been the type that's like, first couple seasons are trash and then it kind of picks up. I kind of appreciated those first 2 a little bit more this time around, just for what they were, trying to find their grounding and their footing and just some fun stories. But you got to see that documentary. Oh my God.
I'm on it. I did start watching the new Curb episodes. I'm only a few in, but so far.
Bum.
Classic Curb. Yeah.
Michael?
What you been watching, buddy?
Oh, that's it. Okay. Wow. Strong recommendation on the Beatles there. I don't want to be trendy though, so I won't watch it for a long time. So.
Of course. We know
I'll watch it in 2 years from now and
be like, oh man, I should have watched it. Know thyself.
Oh shit! Actually, I don't have Disney Plus. I probably would watch it, but
watch the Gordon Lightfoot, then watch the Beatles.
God, again, I gotta watch it. Shit, I gotta watch. You gotta text me every day to remind me. God, I gotta watch it.
Solemn oath.
I have to do that. I have to do that. I really want to watch the Gordon Lightfoot one. I'm such an idiot. I did try to find. Okay. Oh, all right. I remember this now. In my defense, I did look for it and I couldn't find it. I did try to find it and I couldn't find it. And I didn't have an Amazon Prime membership, right? You said it's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Well, a year ago when I strongly recommended it and you said you'd watch it. Yeah.
Shit. Well, some reason I got a Prime membership for a month here for free. I'm going to cancel it, of course. I'm not going to pay for it. That's how you do it. That's how you scam the big man. Scam the man. But
he's going to suffer without your money.
Fucking ain't right, Bezos.
Jeffrey Bezos.
CEO entrepreneur born in 1964. It's so catchy. By the way, that showed up on my end of year Spotify rap list. It was fucking made me laugh. It was one of the backgrounds to the videos. I started
I'm going to
laughing.
do one of those lists in 2 years when it dies down.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, I did use this Prime to access some movies for a month or so, but I also finally started watching. This is way behind, and I didn't mean to be way behind. I just never got a chance to watch it. Mrs. Maisel is so fucking good.
Yeah,
this is such. There's so much going on with this show, man. There's so many deep layers about, oppression, avoidance of reality, and how, particularly with women, of course, and family dynamics where we expect people to be a certain way. And obviously it's based in the late 50s into the 60s, so I get it. But it mixes in historical elements like Robert Moses stuff from New York that like jumps into her life. It's like a Forrest Gump without being like shitty. Like it's done really well. She just kind of bumps into Lenny Bruce. Oh, hey, Lenny Bruce. I just kind of ran into you. It's really, really good. I'm in season 2 right now, and I'm going to continue watching the shit out of this show. I just can't get enough of it. And one thing about it, more than anything, Travis, is I cannot get enough of Tony Shalhoub on this show. It's one of his best performances of all time. He's so commanding and so dominant every time. I mean, this guy he plays is just, it's fascinating, dude, man. It's so fascinating.
Yeah, I'm ready for that next season. It's been a minute. Like I'm ready.
Oh, has it been a while?
Yeah, I think COVID fucked it up or something, but I'm ready for that. I think season 3 or season 4 they need to get to. I can't remember which one. How many I've watched at this point, but I also really enjoy it. I mean, like every character you kind of fall in love with.
You really do. It's fantastic. I really hope there's more seasons left. I feel like Eric, I don't want it to end. I really don't. So, and with Kevin Pollak and Tony Shalhoub going head to head as these elder statesmen, old time Jews, they're so good as these. He's so annoying, and he's annoyed by him. Oh God, it's great.
Their relationship is just,
it's hysterical. God, it's hysterical. I'm so glad I found it. I didn't really want to avoid it. I just didn't have it. Now I have the access, and I love it.
All right.
And that woman, Rachel Brosnahan, what a find.
She was in House of Cards.
At what point? Was it early? I stopped watching after a certain season.
I think we all stopped watching. Earlier on, she was the prostitute that they had to like take care of. That Megyn Kelly had to take care of.
Yeah. I forgot about that. That show was just wiped from my memory for some reason.
Memory hold, as it probably should be. Sorry, Kevin, and everyone else involved.
We had great run with Swimming in Sharks when we were kids. We enjoyed it.
David Schwimmer.
David Schwimmer was
David swimming with sharks. David Schwimmer with sharks.
Rex,
don't bite me. Don't bite me.
Movie wise, 12 Angry Men, the 97 version, was on YouTube. And I was like, oh my God, I just had to turn it on. I know. Yeah, Bill Peterson. Kelty Williamson, Hume Cronin, yada, yada, yada. It's just a massive cast. George C. Scott's still there. Jack Lemmon towards the end.
I can feel the knife going in.
Yeah.
It's so intense, man. And a younger Courtney B. Vance, who gained a lot more fame recently. So good. Very good movie. Obviously, the original is a classic, but this one is just as worthy, in my opinion.
Bill Friedkin.
It's done by Bill Friedkin as well. Well said. Well said.
Underrated.
Terrible movie I never watched. Finally knocked it out. Heartbreakers with Sigourney Weaver and Jennifer Love Hewitt.
I saw that in theaters, I think.
Oh wow, you poor bastard. Yeah, Jason Lee's in it too, and Gene Hackman's in it.
Yep.
And it's just awful. It's just awful. It's not
terrible.
Like they're terrible people, but it's not like enjoyable and funny. It's not redeeming in any way. It's like I don't want to be here at all. So that's a waste. Don't watch that movie.
I don't want to be here.
I remember not liking this movie when it came out, but I watched it here last week, and I really enjoyed it. Intolerable Cruelty. I didn't love it when it came out, a Coen Brothers movie, but I really enjoyed it this time around. It just kind of, sometimes these movies, they do this. They switch gears on you, and they just kind of fit into your profile of understanding. I don't know what it is, but.
I mean, it's famously bad. I haven't revisited it in a long time. Maybe I wasn't ready for it.
I agree. Well, I don't know. It was... the older I am now, I just kind of like the whole process that Clooney goes through. It makes more sense. They're both going through. They're like trying to be these scumbag assholes, these cynical people, but love can still find a way. I don't know. It wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible at the very least. I'd never seen this movie. It's called The House Bunny. It's so dumb. I don't know why I watched it, but I like Anna Faris. I love Anna Faris, so that is why I watched it. You're absolutely right.
That's why I watched it.
That's why everyone watched it.
It's a Happy Madison production, so it tells you all you need to know about it. I never saw this one. The Flash of Genius with Greg Kinnear about the guy who invented the. Oh yeah, what'd you think?
Windshield wiper pick.
I liked it. Windshield wiper pick.
That's what I said to Leanne. I'm like, I just got done watching a movie about windshield wipers. She's like, what?
I kind of forgot about it as soon as it was over, though.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a true story, of course, based on Dr. What's his face. I can't remember his name now, but
a Celtic last name, Gaelic. What is that?
He did invent it. He invented the mechanism that we still use today, and he made a lot of money off Ford and Chrysler later at great personal sacrifice. So. It's not a fun movie to watch, though. I mean, if you have to be down with history, like, and just be willing to accept that, because if you don't, you're gonna hate this movie probably. Like, it's.
Do you have to know your windshield wipers? Like,
you don't really need to know intermittent. You don't need to know what levels, how fast.
Intermittent levels, yeah.
It'll make more sense if you do, but you don't. Have to.
Sure.
Does it get into whether you pull the knob or like put it up or down in order to work the wipers?
Voice activated originally. They changed the technology.
No shit.
Yeah.
It does have Dermot Mulroney, so if you love Dermot Mulroney, then you've got to watch this movie.
Dermo.
Don't we all love Dermot in a way? I mean, he's just that guy with that. He's got that voice and that. He always seems like he has a chaw in his mouth, even though he doesn't. I'm not sure why that is.
Dude, it's not a pyramid scheme. A lot of people think it is, but it's not.
By the way, his name's Dr. Robert Kearns. That's a real human being who really did help move forward the.
He needed a doctor to help him with the intermittent windshield wiper idea.
He was a doctor of engineering. He was an
engineering doctor. He was a PhD
not a real
doctor.
Yeah, you know.
Not a. What's the other one?
Medical
doctor.
MD.
MD. That's what I was grabbing.
That's it. I feel you'd be really familiar with MD, Travis.
Dermot Mulroney, MD.
I never saw it, and Travis said he loved both of them. The Exotic Marigold Hotel.
The first one. I like the second one was okay. I like the first one quite a bit.
Apologies. Very enjoyable. Old people going to India. White people go to an exotic place.
Yeah, you got Dev though. You got Dev Patel on there, right?
Early Dev Patel. You also got Bill Nye. Nye.
We figured it out. It's Nye.
Oh,
Nye.
The end is Bill Nye.
You got the heavy hitters, Maggie Smith and Sir what's her face? Sir
Sir
Judi Dench.
Dents, thank you. Yes. Sir
Maggie Smith.
Wilford Brimley, I think he shows up in this one, right?
Why not? Yeah. He was he just got back from a flight on the latest Cocoon ship. He's gonna it's actually a sequel to Cocoon at the end. It's kind of a prequel to the next Cocoon.
It's like the 1.2.
At the very end of the movie, Cocoon shows up.
So so there's two of these? Like
there's a sequel, yeah. The next best. Second best? Sorry.
Is it the second best exotic?
Okay.
I think it is the second best.
I haven't seen it. So.
Best exotic. I watched them both back to back at the same night.
Nice. What a night that was.
I'd never seen them before. I sat down and watched one. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? I'll watch the other
night.
Yeah, the sequel is the second best. You're right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I watched an awful movie that I actually turned off, and it stars, and Gary Oldman's in it. You're like, Harrison Ford is in it. You're like, what? Yeah. You have any idea what I'm talking about?
Air Force One.
No.
Paranoia.
Yeah, Paranoia.
I don't know this one.
Oh, it's awful. So it stars the lesser Hemsworth brother, Liam, as a guy who has to steal information from the other company. Gary Oldman wants him to steal proprietary info from Harrison Ford's company, and the hijinks begins.
Paranoia.
Oh, I remember the preview.
I just can't take Liam Hemsworth's not a great actor, unfortunately. I'm sorry. He's very attractive, so that'll always serve him well in life. He'll never starve. He'll always be, given a. He does. His brother is just filled with cash, so he's got that going for him. So I'm not going to feel bad for him, but that movie sucked.
Oh, God.
Watch a surprising movie, and this is directed by Chris Evans, Captain Rogers himself.
Oh, yeah.
You seen this one, Before We Go?
I've been meaning to watch it. How was it?
It's free on YouTube if you want to throw it on. We were skimming through, trying to go to bed the other night, and Leanne's like, "Oh, let's put that." We were swimming.
We were swimming.
We were swimming through, and Leanne's like, "Oh, put that on." I'm like, "Okay, I don't care. We're gonna fall asleep anyways." But then she watched the whole thing, and I was like, "Damn it!" We watched this whole thing before we go. Not bad though. It's actually pretty good. It's just Alice, Eve, and Chris Evans, and this is a very bare bones movie, running around New York late at night, talking about life. If you're into movies like Before Sunrise,
Sunset. Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
Okay,
I think
I like that sort of stuff. Slice of life.
It was solid. Good job for Chris Evans. It was from 2014, so it looks like it was like, hey, I'm Captain Rogers now. Let me do this. That's probably what happened.
Yeah.
And so it goes. You guys seen this one?
Oh, this is Diane. This is Diane. Diane Keaton. Yeah, did I watch this with you? At some point, probably.
It felt, I could see that happening for sure.
Hang
because
on, don't tell me this is like a trivia game. Is this the one with? Is this the one with Michael Douglas?
That's right.
Okay, I watched this recently. I actually liked it. What did you think?
I didn't hate it. It certainly felt like it was trying to be a Nancy Byers movie. It's actually directed by Rob Reiner, who he co-stars in it with the toupee. Okay. There is people. It's easy to dismiss those kind of movies, I guess. But if people do go through pain, they sometimes do turn into assholes. It is real. It's not like I would dismiss all of those type of roles. Anyways, that's worth seeing, but I didn't think it was that great. So.
I mean, it's for Diane Keaton fanatics like us.
She does cry in the movie a lot. In fact, one of her bits in the movie, bits is that she cries while she's singing and stuff. Oh, it's great. I got a lot of laughs out of that, Travis. I was thinking of you.
I think I recommended this to you back when I watched it. I'm pretty sure. I'm like, this is Diane Keaton crying. You gotta watch it.
Yes, you're right. All right. Yes, that does sound familiar. It's just it's a niche thing. What can I say?
Yeah.
Anyways,
Travis,
there you go. That's
check in with Hawkeye.
Oh yeah. I've been watching Hawkeye, of course.
Oh, is that out now?
We're halfway through. We got 3 more episodes to go, but yeah, I've been watching it. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. I've never been on the team that pretends like they don't like Hawkeye. Hawkeye can run with gods. Hawkeye's a fucking badass. I've always liked him. Sure. And so I'm happy to see him with his own show. And I think that Haley Steinfeld is just doing a real nice job fitting into the Marvel world very well.
Yay! I watched one other movie, but I think I'm going to save it because it might be my recommendation or my choice for my next choice. So
I did.
I'll hold off.
It's odd because I did follow up one prison reform movie with another that I forgot to mention. Chattahoochee. Gary Oldman, Dennis Hopper.
Way down under on a Chattahoochee.
It gets hotter. What does it get?
Hoochie coochie. Hoochie coochie. I don't know what that is. That's a dance, but it's not.
I know what that is.
Oh, okay. All right.
Never realized how much water meant to me.
But I learned a lot about living and learn about love. It makes sense.
The movie's about as good as that terrible song. It's not very good. I think it's like the first starring role for Gary Oldman, and like he's good in it, but it's about like this horrible. It's like 88.
Oh, pick up your ears before that.
Yeah. And it's about it's a period piece. It takes place in the early 50s, and it's about like these horrible conditions in a Tennessee prison, but like the conditions are so horrible and that's all they focus on that you're watching it and you're just like, this is disgusting and not entertaining. So I ended up turning it off. I mean, love Gary Oldman, but it was too much. Frances McDormand, but I just had to shut it down.
What are you gonna do?
Not your fault.
After that, I played that beautiful song. Well, I went down. Great time with that.
Nobody watched Home Sweet Home Alone yet?
No. I haven't bothered.
Good. Glad to hear that. Eric, you did remind me of this a couple weeks ago. I did watch the Attica documentary on Showtime.
Oh my God.
Really, Travis, you should watch this. Fantastic. It's very, very just like the World War I Peter Jackson doc.
Short.
It's it gets so graphic, but they're trying to really show you what happened. It's one of the most brutal things that ever happened in the history of this country, which is saying a lot. It really is, or at least one of the most brutal things that was captured and reported properly by reporters and outsiders at the very least. Awful, just an awful. For everybody, guards, prisoners, it was just the worst. So, but it's definitely something everybody should see because it's very poignant for today's world. All right, that's it. We're done.
Society.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Society. We all know there's nothing wrong. We're singing you guys songs on today's Cinema 9 edition, and it's the holiday spirit. We're excited by the Chattahoochee and Society, and as we move in to the...
We're excited by the Chattahoochee.
We're excited about the Chattahoochee.
As we move into our main event, don't forget, 5-star review. We love it. Apple Podcasts. We'd really appreciate it. We'll do something for you as well. Like I always say, I'm happy to... It's the holiday season. I should give back. So if I could do something for you, just let me know what it is. And if it's within my means, I'm happy to accommodate.
Or subscribe to our YouTube. That would be cool too.
That would be great too. Oh, look, we just got a ha-ha emoji. Yay! Thanks for the ha-ha emoji on our Facebook, which is also a place you can check out the show. But yeah, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's pump up those numbers, man. Let's pump it up. Pump it up. Elvis Costello? I thought we were going to... pump up the jam. I thought we were doing... I just thought we were singing the rest of the show. No, let's get into it. It's time for Travis's selection this week. Main event. Does it hold up? 1993's Fire in the Sky, which is not Fire in the Gym, which is a song that immediately came out of my head when I sat down to watch this yesterday. I just started singing it, like Fire in the Gym, and I'm like, where is this coming from? And I thought it was from...
talking about.
So I'm about to tell you. So I'm trying to figure out. I know you guys are excited.
Bated breath.
Where did this? Fire in the Gym? It's something in my mind from a pop culture reference, but I couldn't place it. And I thought it was from like 3 O'Clock High or some dumb 80s movie I'd watch. I Google it and I find out it's from an episode. It's a real thing of the new Leave It to Beaver from 1987, which I didn't remember at all that was a show. Mm-hmm. And I started watching the episode that the song is in, where Beaver's kids and Eddie Haskell's kids come together. Yeah. Oh, wow. You've seen this.
Kip Cleaver. Oh, yeah. I know Fire in the Gym.
Is this current?
I don't know. Kip started a fire in the gym.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. So I wasn't alone. Okay. I just couldn't believe it was a show. I watched it for 5 minutes and I wanted to like die. Terrible. All these old Leave It to Beaver people were there in the show, except, the main old dude, Hugh Downs.
This is like the original reboot.
Hugh Beaumont.
Yes, it was. It really was, Travis. 1987. Like, hey, let's start to reboot the 50s stuff. Not a good idea. It doesn't really hold up.
Yeah.
Like
anyways,
come out.
Hugh Downs, 2020.
It was a prelude to 2020, yes. But of course, Fire in the Sky is much different than Fire in the Gym. Fire in the Sky starred D.B. Sweeney, Robert Patrick, Peter Berg's in this.
Damn, yeah.
Henry
James Garner. Yeah, I'm James Garner, and I'm playing the same tone of voice in every film, whether it's Maverick or anything else. All right, you bet your bottom dollar. So, Travis, you chose
Cleaver or Chattahoochee.
It's just the same tone always. I like his delivery though; he's enjoyable. Yeah. Travis, you chose this film, so take us back in time, man. Where did it all begin?
It all began in the movie theater in the year 1993. I watched this movie and was freaked out by it. And I think I may have watched it one more time on video shortly after, and haven't watched it since. I haven't watched it since then. I haven't watched it forever, but I kind of had an experience over the summer that I saw something in the sky over the summer that I just haven't stopped thinking about. So I've been wanting to watch. Now I'm not saying I got abducted by aliens, for the record. I did not. But I just saw something I couldn't really explain. So it's just kind of been in my head for a while. I just blew Michael's mind. He just knocked over his entire greenery. He knocked over. Did you call it DB Screeny?
DB Screaming.
Oh, I thought that's DB Screeny because it's a green.
Just hold it up like this. If I do this for the rest of the show. There we go.
Yeah, just keep doing that.
Anyways, keep talking. I'll work on this.
Okay. But yeah, no. So I've been I've just been puzzling over that and thinking about that, and been like, I've been wanting to watch this movie since, and talk about aliens.
I'm so surprised because when we first met, that's what we would talk about. We talk about Alien. Come on, EGAC, Don't Wake Up. We would talk about Fire in the Sky all the time. I'm surprised we only saw it a couple of times.
No, I only saw it a couple of times. It left an imprint on me. It's a freaky ass film. YouTubers, if you're watching, you're treated now to Mike Govier's butt. This is his butt.
That's true.
This is just like a butt.
Sweatpants laden ass.
Just a butt on screen. Like it looks like he's trying to make his butt talk to the microphone. Like it's like
it really does look like
it
looks like a nest of Kleenex or something. I can't really make out what I'm looking at.
Looks like Pac-Man just ate something sour.
Yeah. The Starlight Pit, if it went to Gucci and spent like $100,000.
Yeah, so bizarre. So I've been meaning to watch Fire in the Sky, and I thought, why not make you motherfuckers watch it with me, and we'll talk. Well, make, because you don't have to watch the movie for the fucking episode, I guess, but I presume that everyone watches them. So coerce you, I guess. I'm not trying to like step on your toes. I'm just saying, I put you guys through this as well.
Well, I got to tell you, Travis. I saw this in theaters in 1993. I absolutely very distinctly remember seeing this because I first saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, where the Turtles, of course, go back in time to feudal Japan. And right after that was over, we went into the other screening room at Brighton Cinema because my brother and father were in there about to watch Fire in the Sky. So here I come from this sweet, slightly lousy sequel to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I go into this extremely horrific horror movie that I just was not prepared for.
Is it a horror movie?
And when you walk out of the theater, you're convinced you just saw a horror movie because you are shaking and sweating. But I will never forget it because this was March of 93 and our local cinema, Brighton Cinema, recently installed the DTS stereo surround sound in anticipation of Jurassic Park, which was going to come out in a couple of months. So this is the first time I remember being in a theater where I heard this immersive surround sound.
The butt just ate the microphone.
Yeah, the latex butt ate the mic. And here he is.
He's back.
So yeah, I wasn't prepared for this at 12 years old.
Whoops-a-daisy.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mind blower for 12.
Yeah, 12 is a bit young.
That's why I wanted to see it as an adult man. I guess you're right. I didn't want to pick another horror movie. This is kind of a sci-fi thriller, I was thinking, but it's pretty horrific in a few moments. You're right.
What about you, Mike? You remember the first time you saw 1993's Fire in the Sky?
And was it I sure do. Night? It was last night. Absolutely. I'm back here just in time. Let's see how long this green screen holds up. Thanks for the butt jokes. Those were great butt jokes, by the way. Like and Dion Craven says, butt. So, thanks. Butt Mike. Oh, butt Mike. Yes.
Oh, butt Mike.
Which is a local reference for radio people. All right. So, I watched it last night, so I'll talk more about that. Anyways, of course, we always look at I didn't look up the score. Did you guys look up the score?
I actually
yeah.
I'm going to guess. I mean, it's not like a beloved film. If you talk about it, people go, "Oh, the eye scene," like the drill in the eye. So people remember it, but I don't know if they like it. I'm going to say 5.9.
Yeah, I'm going to say this is like a 6.8.
Ooh,
6.8.
Mike's being pretty generous. It is a 6.5.
All right.
Yay!
It's got a big cult status. I think those people who saw it do at least remember. It's very memorable.
Very memorable. Yeah.
I thought people would be really into it. They'd push the score up because the UFO freaks are a big contingent on the internet. I don't know.
Conspiracy.
Yeah, conspiracy freaks. Those types of weirdos out there. Not there's anything wrong with looking at that type of stuff and believing in it. I don't have any disrespect. I think it's a fascinating subject. I certainly do. But I'm just saying it's a strong contingent of human beings. Anywho, as far as Rotten Tomatoes, Fire in the Sky, this movie came out a while ago, so, it's not exactly a movie that we're going to expect Destin Thompson to comment on, right? I don't feel like...
I think this is pre-Thompson.
Yes, it's definitely pre-Thompson. 42% from the critics.
That's not great.
That's bad. And audience score, though, 57.
Yeah.
Still a tipped over bucket of popcorn. Yeah. As far as what the critics had to say, well, they are obviously disappointed with it, so there's going to be a lot of negative reviews, but, there's always the positive one. How about Bill Clark? Bill Clark, from the most bland name for a critic ever. An intriguing film made all the more noteworthy due to its nightmare-inducing sequence on board an alien ship.
Oh, boy.
I mean, in a lot of ways, the movie gets going once we get to the ship, and then the movie's over.
Oh, I got more to say about that. Roger Ebert, who was in his prime at this time, the movie's flaw is that there's not enough detail about the aliens. And the movie ends on an inconclusive and frustrating note.
I agree with the second part, but I mean, how can you go into more detail about the aliens? It's a vague eyewitness account that's not even true.
All right, we'll talk more about that too.
Based on a true story at the beginning, Eric.
We didn't even get inspired by, and that's a stretch.
Hey, I saw this guy on Joe Rogan, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I saw
Malcolm, there's only one page of, this is the lowest amount of reviews for any movie we've done so far. One page. So we got to go with Malcolm Johnson from the Hartford Courant. This might do for a television report on humans who have enjoyed or hated Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but for a movie, especially an only fleetingly artful one, it seems unduly coy. I agree with that.
Coy.
I agree with the unduly coy. I do. Yeah.
I mean, in the very opening, it's very unduly coy. Like it starts out you're like, oh, it's fucking headlights. These aren't real. And then it gets to James Garner, and he's like, oh, like you see like lights across his face. It's fucking like the
the jump scare bullshit. That's the one I was thinking of.
That's more bait and switch, but yeah. That's.
But it's okay.
There's a lot of that in the movie where it's like,
oh my God! He stopped at a railroad crossing.
Yeah, that is unduly.
Come on.
That is
Fuck
unduly
you.
coy.
Isn't that a tragically hip album?
You're by sin free,
and I'm unduly coy.
Fully, completely coy.
So that's it for the reviews. Very minimal.
Okay.
But unduly coy this movie is. This movie is awfully paced. Just awfully paced, in my opinion.
The pace is a little all over the place. I mean, I think that they're trying to follow the story as it happened, because these events did take place in as much that Travis Walton. By the way, it's a good thing that none of these characters were named Eric, or else it'd be really confusing. Because we have a Mike Rogers and a Travis Walton in this show.
That is true.
But Travis Walton did disappear for like 5 days, and people were looking for him for that period. Was he in someone's basement hiding? I don't know. I don't know.
Or in a water tower a quarter mile away?
Yeah, exactly. Like, was he there? Very likely. I don't fucking know where he was. But I'm just saying, there are aspects that are demonstrably true, and then of course, other.
So, have you looked into the bullshit on this stuff? Because I couldn't find, or maybe I didn't put enough time into it about the supposed.
I read Travis's
nature.
book. I've been following the story for years and years, so I've got my opinion on it, and we can talk about the whole the liberties you need to take for a dramatic structure, because this is a good inkling for a story. People think that these friends murdered one of their coworkers and friend, and what happened? That investigation took place. So you got to start with some nugget, and then hire a screenwriter to base it off around that. I mean,
but that's the problem. Is that you go in watching this movie. It's called Fire in the Sky. It's written by a famous alien abduction case. That the real story here is that he was abducted by an alien, but 2/3 of the movie is did they or didn't they actually kill him? I think a lot could have been served by having the film be inspired by Walton's story and taking a lot more liberties with it, where there's where you're watching the movie and you don't know that there's an alien element to it, and you think you're just watching a thriller, did these guys, or a drama, did these guys really do it? Because you're watching the whole movie, most of the movie, and you're well, no, there's no tension here, because I know that that they didn't do it, because he's going to come back and he was kidnapped by aliens.
Even if you don't know the story of Travis Walton, you could go into this film, and if it were structured differently, it could actually be a mystery. There could be a point to the James Garner character, because instead of just showing what happened in the first 10 minutes, keep it a mystery. Yeah. Why do they just show exactly what they purport to have happened immediately? Why don't they save it for the at least the polygraph test an hour in? We're supposed to think that it's being called into question and there's some sort of mystery here, when it's basically telling us what actually happened.
Well, I mean, like, it's not immediately, but yeah, it is 15, 20 minutes in. You're right. It is, because, well, it's kind of a weird book casing that they do here, or book ending here that they do here, because, like, the movie starts and, like, they're driving away from the fire in the sky, and they've left Travis Walton behind. And, like, so, like, right. And they get in the bar, and it already seems like people don't fucking like him. So, like, yeah, so, like, and then 15 minutes or so goes by, and they're telling Garner and Willingham like what happened.
Yeah, but at no point do we ever think that these guys may have murdered Travis, because we already seen that they didn't. That he got into this car and blah blah blah, or at least they saw something in the woods. There's never any doubt or mystery about whether there's foul play here.
Yeah, not really. And for them to follow that thread in the film so closely makes it kind of a misfire in that sense.
Yeah, no, it does. That is very much true. What? They love the fact that they make these guys seem not to be morons, though. They really push the kind of agenda here that, these guys are just backwoods idiots, because they all constantly get into fights in every scene, succeeding. Hey, I said what I said to you. I said what I said to you. All right, hey, come on, guys.
They're in their.
That happens like 5 times.
They're in their mid-20s, and while watching this, I did recently. I was thinking a lot about Backdraft. In that film, this dynamic really worked. Because it introduced the characters in a really nice way. It showed the dynamic, who likes who's aligned with who. And actually in Fire in the Sky, I do like the early stuff when they're actually doing the work and logging, and they set up this possibility that, maybe someone might set somebody up and this and that, but it goes nowhere. They drop off these characters. The second Travis gets saved, we never hear from anyone else again. Peter Berg's character, Henry Thomas's character, Craig Sheffer, they're just gone.
I mean, like, they had to try and keep the movie interesting, though. So you get like this opening bit where Craig Sheffer is like trying to drop trees on DB Sweeney, and then he's like holding like a running chainsaw like inches from his face, and like Robert Patrick is the boss, is like watching, like, hey, do that like 7 or 8 more times, and I might think about firing you.
Travis Walton says that really happened. Basically, that morning, the Dallas guy wanted to sleep with his girlfriend. He tried to sleep with his girlfriend, so he was really pissed at him. They just changed what it was that they were pissed about.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So whatever. All
right, well, then that tension does make sense. And then after that, Robert Patrick has to create tension by going around and yelling at people kind of unnecessarily. I won't do a lie detector. No, I won't do a lie detector. It's like, he's yelling again. Yell more.
The character motivations are very clueless in this movie, and that bothers me. That bothered me as well. But I really got bummed out with the fact that they show up at this place, and you're like, "Oh, what's going down?" And then they got to go back to like, "Hey, it's morning at Mike's place, and DB's getting on the motorcycle slowly but surely, and then he slowly comes back with donuts. Oh, we got to fight about a mortgage. Like, I don't give a fuck about that. Come on, man.
Oh man,
it's all very shot in the golden hour, and then he's like, "This is our future. This is our future." Yeah. I don't want it to be like what, a child's drawing. What's
like? We get it.
MT Motors, bro.
MT Motors, MT. But they want to make us care about the characters, and I get that.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
And there's a lot about this movie. Like, I think so. Bill Pope is the cinematographer here, and I think he does such a great job that you almost forget, in some senses, not with the direction, not with the acting, not with some of the structure, like especially what we're talking about here with this beginning of this. You almost forget that it's an early '90s movie because it looks really fucking good and forward thinking, which, I mean, this guy went on to do Matrix. He just did Shang-Chi. So I mean, like, this, like, so there is some good stuff here, but that early bit for me too was pretty rough, like trying to make me care about these characters and all these golden hues, and there's this Romeo and Juliet shit with the fucking window, and I'm like, you're just really lacquering it on.
We're here for a specific purpose, are we not, for this movie?
And the movie does really get going once we get to the alien shit. And since we know it's coming, the movie doesn't it's already like an hour and 50 minute, drop 20 minutes, bring us the aliens earlier, get rid of a lot of this character building shit, because no one's really here for that. They want the alien story. We don't give a fuck.
The maple syrup.
That scene works really good. It makes me like want to not eat maple syrup.
So, with the exception of probably Whitley Strieber's Communion, there really haven't been there, especially at this time. There weren't any films about extraterrestrial life that weren't just straight action movies or sweet family movies like E.T. and Close Encounters or fucking Mac and Me.
Wasn't Arrival that Charlie Sheen?
96, yeah, a few years later. So
okay.
I do like the fact that this is a movie about aliens that is actually a drama / mystery / thriller.
Yeah.
So in that respect, it was very unique.
Yeah.
What I don't particularly like is the fact that you take away kind of that Sagian, if you'll allow it, wonderment about the possibility of extra life and replace it with just like horror, as if we're supposed to be absolutely terrified of anything else outside of our world. Travis Walton himself went on to say that he didn't want his story to ever inspire fear in people, regardless of his own traumatic experience. And this is like some people's most fucking number one horror movie if you go around asking.
I mean, in the book, does he talk about being held down by alien creatures with like this weird fucking, I don't know, Clockwork Orange milky bath thing going on? Like,
no,
I mean, coming down. So that's all just how.
Yeah, it's all made up by Tracy Torme, the screenwriter. The execs were literally like, no one cares about what really happened. What really happened? He woke up. There were some things there. He tried to hit him with a stick, and then he passed out. That's it. Everything else is
you think that really
Hollywood.
You think?
I don't think so. I think there's overwhelming evidence that I've been following for the past 30 years that says that they were about to be fired from their contract. They recently read that the National Enquirer was offering $100,000 for evidence of UFOs.
Yeah.
And they made up the story. Travis hid in a water tower a quarter mile away and came back after 3 days, and everyone agreed that they would share the profits, which they're still pissed about not getting percentages of to this day if you dig around online. So
yeah. And
really?
And they had he and his brother had talked about something like they had talked about this kind of stuff well beforehand, which on one hand, like if you're already some sort of alien enthusiast, that would explain why you got out of the car and like walked beneath it. Because like Travis, you really are an asshole. Like this
or an idiot.
Yeah,
like he acts like a fucking dumb clown, like for the first chunk.
Yeah, he's not a bright dude.
Hey, Mike!
I drive my motorbike on the sidewalks. Yeah, so I mean, I don't really buy his story either. You know, I don't buy alien abduction stories. Now, I do buy UFOs stories. I mean, at this point, I have seen that. I have talked to many other people who have seen that. We have footage of that kind of stuff released by the Pentagon at this point. Like what? Now, no one's saying that these things are all aliens. We're just saying that, you know, these are unidentified things.
Yeah.
No one knows what they are.
And regardless if they're real or not real, people are going to take advantage of the possibility. In fact, 2 weeks before this supposed abduction, a documentary about Betty and Barney Hill, which is the classic abduction, was televised on an episode of something or other, which
Unsolved Mysteries
most likely saw and was inspired by. So yeah.
So I mean, yeah. So taking Travis's story out of it as being like no one like, is it a good movie? I find it like again, like the best scenes are all in the spaceship. All that stuff, like the fucking hallway with all like the glasses and shoes and shit. Like that's so creepy. Like the idea, but at the same time, part of me is like, so they let people like rot in these cell sacks, and they like, but then they're gonna drive you home.
Made no sense at all. You're exactly thinking what I was thinking. Like what? This is like obviously the Matrix stole some of their ideas from this scene as well in terms of these pods.
And I
thought of that. And then it's like, wait, what is the purpose of these aliens? Like it's supposed to be an advanced type of race of creature or whatever the fuck it is, you know, and they're just idiots. Like they just poke and prod like morons. They don't have anesthesia. I was kept thinking of this a lot. Like, oh, they wouldn't use anesthesia at all. Like, we're the ones that create that. They're probably got like something way beyond that they would put into you. They're not like all evil beings. It's just so, it was all stupid.
Yeah.
It really bothered me. The whole scene I could give a fuck about.
That's partly what I do like about this version of the aliens, because these are some rough fucking aliens. These aren't like, hey, we are evolved like space traveling people. Like, check out our space dump that we don't clean up. We got shit all over the place. We don't really clean up after ourselves. Our technology's slimy and
our
like
space dump.
And they don't give up. Like, I mean, they treat the humans basically like how. I mean, imagine how like that's how some people would treat a rat today if they caught it. You know what I mean? Like, they're treating it like a lower level species that they don't care if they're hurting it. They don't give a fuck if they hurt it, and that to me makes sense.
Well, what do you do when you catch a fish?
But yeah, right. But that all goes well. Like you might put a fish back in the pond, but you're not going to drive it back to the exact same spot that you pulled it out of the lake from. And be like, okay, now you go back to where because you live in Arizona.
Snowflake, Arizona, right? All right, got it. Bring them back quick.
We got it.
I'm still just bothered by how slow the movie is to do anything. It's always going to bother me, and I'm just not into the. I was like fascinated. I did look up Travis Walton a bit. I want to know more about the story, but I'm kind of bummed out that all this stuff was just made up. And this movie is kind of caught in two worlds of trying to be scary a bit, and frighten you, but be slow to get to the point. By the time we get to the maple syrup, I'm done. I'm just like, I don't care anymore. I really don't. That is so far along in the movie by then.
And that's where the movie really picks up, which is what I'm saying. They needed to do this at the beginning of that act, basically. Like they needed to do that a lot earlier and end the movie sooner. Maybe draw out some more of the alien shit. Like, you could have even drawn, given us even more of that if you really wanted to.
And it's misrepresented, It's misrepresented as D.B. Sweeney stars as Travis Walton. And he's really just like a motivator, a piece of the action that people are playing off of. Obviously, Robert Patrick, I said earlier, he's the main character in this story. It's all about Mike Rogers and his experience. And they try to bring it all together at the end. But by then, I'm like,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I do actually kind of like that about the movie, because since Travis doesn't remember much about his experience and he was just the victim of trauma for most of it, I think the actual story is going to come from a friend who was supposed to help someone who went missing, and then what he's going to do when this small town scandal arises and you're dealing with these accusations and these police procedures and this community and how they can so easily turn on one of their own when suspicion arises. I dig that stuff. I just think a little bit too much is spent on that, as opposed to, I don't know, maybe how Travis got himself out of this trauma, as opposed to right after this horrible scene, the next scene he's like making pancakes with his kids and everything's fine and dandy. Like, give me another 20 minutes to show how you deal with something with the liberties taken on the spaceship. Tell me how someone who deals with something this traumatic gets out of that state, regardless of what it is or what specifically happened. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, all of this red herring, did they kill him bullshit in the first literally 2/3 of the movie, drop that back by like a third and spend more time with the star of the film, supposedly, and watch him overcome this stuff, because you've already turned the movie into a drama anyways. So to have him being like cowering naked, shivering on the floor, then going to like the cold sweat and the hypnotherapies bullshit, and then like, I'm a father of two, like, just like bango, I'm back to work. Like, that is a bit of a jarring leap.
Yeah, James Garner walks out, says, "Oh, I'll be back. If I got to come from the North Pole, I'll be back." All right, that's it.
I will say this. There's only so many movies in the world where both James Garner and Noble Willingham are in a scene together, and they're both wearing cowboy hats. I mean, that's just like the most natural thing in the world.
That is very natural. I would concur. Definitely concur.
These two giants in a 90s film wearing cowboy hats in a scene together. It's great. It's beautiful.
Yay!
I love to see it.
I don't know, man. Like, there's truly effective moments that don't just take place on the spaceship for me. In fact, the scariest part for me is when they first find him at the gas station. I still remember sitting in the theater getting really scared and covering my face with my coat when his girlfriend goes to touch him and he just starts screaming. And you got to think about how we know now that physical touch will literally light up neurons associated with trauma and pain and just how real and fucking freaky that is. This is not just like an episode of the X-Files or some bullshit.
Feels like it.
There's some humanity here, and it's parts like that stick out for me personally.
Well, the mute button is easy to hit for a moment. So,
oh, you had it muted at that point?
I could have. I'm just saying. I actually
you
didn't
like
do that,
DB screaming.
DB. I have that note. I actually have that note. DB screaming, then I have DB floating later on.
The DB jokes are more entertaining than this movie. Which
also, if your friend finally turns up and is naked and shivering at the sight of you,
you call the aliens.
You immediately call ufologists instead of the
you
police?
Call AFAR, which is not AMFAR, by the way. AFAR.
And everybody's yelling like, "Hey, my friend seems traumatized. Let's all get into a boxcar and start screaming at one another."
This movie manufactures a ton of chaos, unnecessary chaos.
Yeah.
I am yelling. I am pissed. You are pissed.
I have that note a few places. Robert Patrick's yelling again, like this. Now he's got a goatee. Now he's got a full beard. Now he's clean and shaven.
Peter Berg is in this. Peter Berg is in this movie. It's like wasted. He doesn't exist. It's
wasted. Peter Berg is wasted in this movie. Henry Thomas is wasted in this movie.
Henry Thomas.
Really talented guys and we get way too much Craig Sheffer, who no thank you. And this other guy who actually did pretty good. I think Bradley Gregg was his name. He was actually pretty good. But
1993 was the year that Hollywood went all in on Craig Sheffer because A River Runs Through It came out right before this, and The Program came out the same year, which he stars in as the quarterback, and that was it. And people are like, we don't really like Craig Sheffer, so we're going to
forget about Heartbreak Hotel, where David Keith played Elvis. Come on,
there you go.
And that's another thing is that the movie is mixed up on, because I actually do think that the stuff when they're all in it together, like when they're all like, when he drops him off out of the car, they're all in the road, they get spooked by the bird or whatever. Like the dynamic between the crew is actually pretty good and pretty well acted.
Yep.
And just kind of like left on the table. Like it's just kind of, they don't really, like once it's just stuff to fill space until DB Sweeney gets back. But it's like, well, shit, you actually had us kind of starting to care about these characters and like learn about these characters, and then like they're gone. You're right. I mean, it's a problem.
We know this is an abduction movie, so we know that Travis Walton's going to come back. So the fact that you try to manufacture this murder plot, which would be like, oh yeah, you guys did kill him. Okay, absolutely. Yes, but you carried it on for way too long in the movie because we're coming into this knowing he was abducted and returned. It's not a secret.
That's what I've been saying. Set it up as if we have some friends, put them on this logging trip, set up the character relationships, have that actually be a mystery. Did they kill Travis?
Yeah.
But the actual people that get abducted in this movie are those supporting characters because they leave halfway through.
Well done, sir.
That's funny.
I have nothing else to say about this movie, so you guys say whatever else you want to say. It's just whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that this is actually the least amount of notes I've ever taken. We only get one racial or homophobic slur, which isn't not that bad for an early '90s movie.
Yeah, for an early '90s movie based in the '70s, that's really impressive.
Go us, go team!
Yeah.
I laughed pretty dang hard when he's getting sucked up, which the lights are doing a lot of work. Speaking of industrial lights and magic,
the eyeballs.
No, earlier when the actual fire in the sky is happening, he's getting sucked up, and then Craig Sheffer rolls up the window. That's pretty funny. I'm like, yeah, man, roll that fucking window up, and honestly, get the hell out of there. I'd leave Travis too.
I laughed when the syrup was poured on his face and his eyeballs went up in his head, and it flashed when his eyeballs went up in his head in the light. That made me laugh. I was like, that's so stupid.
It was hard for me to laugh. It was hard for me to laugh there, Mike, because you've got this movie where someone is missing and they come back and they're clearly have experienced this traumatic event. And what does the entire community do? They celebrate with this stupid potluck.
Yeah.
it's like no one has a clue about the effects of trauma at all. And
this is mid-70s backwoods America, bro.
They really don't have any clue of trauma at all, but still, like now, a surprise party now. Well, how about when they're looking for him in the woods, and all of a sudden there's a Native American like fucking Bigfoot that's just like,
oh shit, god damn you!
Like, what is that? It's just like some dude in a fucking blue jeans, and he just kind of wanders off. But he had previously just been standing stock still in the forest.
That reminded me of full body massage.
Oh man, that was terrible. Like, what is happening here? Oh god,
that's a good one. That was
How
a good
about
one.
when Craig Sheffer calls James Garner daddy? That seemed weird.
A little weird. So, I mean, Rob Lieberman directs, and I actually think he does a pretty decent job shuffling his actors. I think we got good performances here. And aside from the Mighty Ducks 3, the guy's done nothing but TV since that effort.
Yeah,
I kind of think it's a shame because this doesn't really seem like he's done all TV stuff since like the past 30 years.
Yeah.
But this is kind of it's a cinematic movie in its scope and execution. So I would have liked to have seen more from the guy.
Yeah, I think we made that clear though. More credit to Pope than Lieberman, I think.
It's a fucking Paramount picture. We got a major studio doing an alien abduction.
You are really grasping here, man. You're like trying to look for all the things possible to save this film.
That's what persuasion's all about, man. You got to build your case.
Music sucks. Isham just does a terrible job here. I mean, like he's usually
never good.
I mean, I think he's adequate fairly often, but like early on, like there's just like these stings, these intense stings.
Bum 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 bum.
Yeah.
Bum 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 bum.
I don't know, man. Isham does not do great work here.
Indifferent there, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. But it didn't really sit with me at all.
I mean, like it's interesting. You know, this is DB Sweeney and Robert Patrick are the main leads here, which is not a thing you can say very often. I mean, DB Sweeney starred in Cutting Edge, and
Cutting Edge, baby.
I think that's it. Toe pick.
Well, he did play Shoeless Joe Jackson in 8 Men Out. That was
he didn't star in that though. Oh, did he?
Well, that's okay. It's not the starring role though. You're right, but it's like the most famous. You're right. You win. I can see
big role, but it's not. Yeah, it's not lead. It's not the leading man.
It is not the leading man. That is true. It was a short career for DB, was it?
Yeah. DB shortly.
Oh man, so funny, DB. Thank you for all the laughs, DB. I know I don't know what DB actually thinks of this movie after the fact because I didn't bother to look it up. Nor do I care. So can we close this out then?
Yeah, we can close this out.
All right.
You want to go first, Mike?
Yeah. Well, it's real simple. This is a movie that actually was kind of excited to watch because I hadn't seen it. I'm like, okay, well, I remember this. For some reason, like I said, this movie reminds me of The Rocketeer. I must have seen them in like back-to-back trailers on a VHS tape or something. I don't know. Way back in the day. Either way, this is not The Rocketeer, which I've also never seen. So next movie for me to watch is The Rocketeer. Okay. Knock that off my list. And I'm going to spend most of my time talking about The Rocketeer, even though we're supposed to be talking about Fire in the Sky. Now, the truth is, Fire in the Sky has a chance to really make it an entertaining enough film where it would hold up because there's nothing controversial about it that would be like, oh, that doesn't hold up today. That's awful. So unfortunately, it's a missed opportunity from the film crew to really show you detailed breakdown of the internal trauma that this character was going through. All they do is show you the character from the exterior. D.B. Sweeney, the Travis Walton character. They don't really take the time at all to give him some more screen time, like scenes with the doctor. This doctor who seems to really care. Maybe it's a sign of the times, though. It was the 70s. A guy wouldn't talk to a doctor like that. I could see that as well. I'll concede that as well. But online is his pacing's awful, structure's awful, and it's just a lot of yelling and pushing for a while when it could have been a different movie. So to me, this movie doesn't hold up.
I'll go next. I struggled with this one because I grew up with this and I check in every few years. I'm familiar with the story and I do actually like the relationships between the characters. I like the fact that they do spend a lot of time on character. Might not be the Travis character, but they decide to center it on the Mike character played, in my opinion, strongly by Robert Patrick. He's dealing with the town's accusations and in this sort of thing. I actually do think the film holds up for me, and it's not just because of the truly scary sequence. Even 30 years later, we should be looking back and laughing at some lame alien abduction sequence, and yet it's fucking scary, man. So for that alone, I think it holds up. But I also do kind of like just the story of these characters. I like the friendship and like the loyalties changing hands. There's some structural problems, but for a major studio to take a risk on an alien abduction movie, I'm gonna let it slide by with, and it holds up. I still like the film.
All right.
Okay.
I gotta say, I again, like I had seen it in '93. I really had no idea at all how this was going to play out. I mean, like I just didn't know what I was putting on you. And I'm pretty torn on it. I have some mixed feelings. There is a lot of trash here that was mishandled, that could have been handled better, and that wouldn't have been that hard to do. You have a really fucking capable crew of actors here, and excellent filmmaker in Bill Pope. Like there's some really good elements here, and you got Industrial Lights and Magic doing the fucking special effects here. I mean, you got some really, and the stuff like with the alien suits, like where you're like, oh, this looks terrible, and you're like, oh, it's supposed to look terrible. Then you see the actual aliens, you're like, ah, God, like yeah, that's pretty well done stuff. So yeah, does this movie hold up like as a binary? Is this good or bad? I don't know. It's a weird movie. It's a clunky, funky movie. There's a reason why it's a cult movie, I think. And there's a lot of reasons maybe why it's a cult movie. And it's not just that it's a fucking alien movie, although it's obviously a big part of it. Mike or Eric, you said that the alien scene alone is worth saying that it holds up. I'm going to say that scene just barely tips me into does hold up status. I was gripped. I mean, much of that movie is like, wow, what the fuck is happening? But when it gets to that fucking scene at the end, when like you're seeing him like with the stuff over his face, and then what's going on with his eye. Again, who gives a shit if this has really happened or not? Obviously, like there's no way of proving it one way or the other. So who cares? As far as like what's happening in the film itself, I mean, like I was just like watching, like I just felt myself literally on the edge of my seat. Like with my jaw, just like this is fucking like this is hard to watch. Is it gonna go in his eye? So I'm gonna say, yeah, it squeezes into a barely holds up spot. And if I had not the nostalgia for it, maybe not, admittedly. But I'm going to say that again, like you called this also, Eric, a memorable movie. I had not watched it in a fucking 30 years or whatever, and it poked around the back of my brain that whole time. And there's some reasons why. So yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Eric, you're next on the chopping block, eh?
If you want to call it that. That just made me really nervous.
Get him. Let's get him.
So am I going to do a Christmas movie? That's the big question.
That's the question. I'm
going to do a LA Christmas movie, and it's not going to be Die Hard. Don't worry.
Thank you.
But I am going to take us back to 2005 for a movie that does actually have a very strong cult status. But not a lot of people have seen it or remember it. It's Shane Black's Kiss Kiss Bang.
Bang.
Did you get that?
You broke up there. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang 2005. Val Kilmer.
A lot of people have
Robert
seen
Downey Jr. I mean, made no money. I'm
yeah.
very surprised that you guys are saying that because, slipped in and out of the box office, but pretty.
Well, after the fact.
After the
this
fact.
was a big video rental, I think, for a lot of folks.
It's been a while for me, and I'm curious to take another look.
I forgot that it was a Christmas movie at all. But yeah, it's been a while for me as well. But yeah, good call. Cool. Definitely, I think that makes sense for us to check out again. Good call.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, I think I watched it the first time like a year ago.
Oh, all right.
I'll watch it again.
Groovy Ghoulies.
Yeah, Groovy Ghoulies. Okay, 7 of 9 pods in the can. Another episode for you guys to break down, dissect, enjoy. might enjoy it. That'd be nice. Either way, thank you so much, Travis. Fine selection. Fire in the Sky. That was fun. Next week, it's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, 2005 film. Robert Downey Jr., etc. Until then, Mike Gobier, he's Travis Roy, it's Eric Brancham, all kinds of fun people who love the show and really want y'all to have a wonderful holiday season, whatever your holiday may be.
Bye.